right. So, what we got here is a restored, fully functioning and playing pretty nice K model something or other. I'm going to have to look it up. It's this 1608 or something like that. Anyways, this thing was in really sad shape when I got it. And so I'm going to elucidate a little bit on the restore. I chose not to remove all the white speckles because that, as Uncle Doug says, really shows that this is a vintage piece here. Late 50s, early 60s. I'm guessing more towards the early 60s because of the double Clouson tuners. Anyways, so I do have, if that sounds interesting, I do have a video that's going to follow that shows quite a bit of the restoration, what's actually been done on this. It's a great blues guitar. All right, so stay tuned. I'm going to get right to the video now. Thanks a lot. All right, so here's my steps in installing an adjustable truss rod. So this slot is all just one depth. So I'm going to glue piece in there and make it U-shaped. Just chiseling it out. Step one of making an adjustable truss rod on this cool K guitar. All right, here's the tapered shim. Hopefully I can still use that word without offending anyone. There's the new shim that's going in the heel side. And before I do the nut side, I'm going to cut the little cavity here that the new adjustable truss rod is going to go in. Why don't you put it over here and then just glue it in there? Yeah, And then I have to remove the neck every time I adjust it. Nah, I think I'll put it over here. Okay, I got this poor sap marked out for future truss rod covers of America. And then with a sharp tool and a dull mind, you score the area. At least 1/8 of an inch deep to start. And here's a rough draft of the proposed, it's pretty much done, but proposed truss rod. I'm using a rescued Taylor truss rod, and I'm going to have to cut it out a little bit deeper down here. And yeah, and then also I got to straighten this neck. This neck has got a pretty good bow to it as it sits, so we're going to straighten that out perfectly. Alrighty, lots of amusement. Alright, I've got this truss rod routed, the slot routed out and installed here. And now I'm fashioning a wooden strip here to glue this sucker down. Alrighty. Well, we'll see if this works. I'm using some wood epoxy, oak antique epoxy. I haven't tried it on something like this. I've used it in certain spots. It just needs to dry a lot longer. Got to give it at least 24 hours. But I'm not in any big hurry with this thing. All right, I'm happy with the way this has come out. Yeah. Theoretically, it's an adjustable truss rod I've installed. We'll see. Okay, I've got that neck flattened out, super flat. I've got all the glue cleaned off the old cool Brazilian rosewood board. And I used my patented Acme neck flattening jig. And I'm going to just glue that sucker on there now. And I'm sure it's going to need to be leveled from the top. It's been a pretty long time since anything's been done to it, so we'll see. Alrighty, I got some locator pins glued in there. If you ever need to locate something, these locator pins will locate it for you. Just put some money in a shoebox and send it to care of L.A. Jones General Delivery, St. Louis, near the landmass known as Missouri. I want you all to notice the Uncle Doug approved white speckles. That proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is truly a vintage piece. Okay, now I'm going to completely recontour or radius this neck to a 12 with my trusty Stumac radius block. Oh yeah. All right, I got that leveled really nice on 3 planes. And haven't tried the truss rod yet, but I will. Yeah, it's pretty close to being ready to bang some frets into that. All right, so I'm putting the frets in here, and you know, I make sure that I space them out so it won't produce fret-induced back bow. Fret-induced back bow. Seriously, if the slots are the right size, you won't get fret-induced back bow. Alrighty, I do jump around. Okay, for those of you that haven't followed my refretting videos, I'm going to show you one fret, how I do it on a bound fingerboard. So first thing I do is measure, get an approximate measure right there, and I cut it right there. Then with my handy dandy Klein tool that Stumac covers over with heat shrink, there's the Klein tool. It's a nibbler. And you got to wear approved eye protection. There is the Klein tool. You trim the tang off at either end. Then with a handy dandy rebranded Stumac file, you file that flush to the crown of the fret. From underneath, file it flat. Now, some people don't like gluing their frets in. I like it. Fills in the void and it grips the fret. Now, I don't need it with this. These slots are really, really gripping the frets okay. But I'm going to fill these slots with super glue and gently with my Stumac rebranded fret hammer, pound them in. When you tap these in, it doesn't take much. Just tap them without deforming. Okay, and put the camera down. Then you look at it from either side. Make sure you can't see any of that tang under there. And it's even all the way across. And they're looking good. And that's that. All right, I got all the frets banged. Next thing is just to trim off the edges where I can. Trim off the ends. And then, and then start filing it level. A word of warning when filing these down. Those edges are like little razors. Use gloves. Gloves, gloves, gloves. Now I've got those frets all flush to the side of the neck, and also nice 45-degree angle on the edges, and I've got them marked for leveling. I level it on 3 planes basically. So off the edge, kind of feather it into the center, and then the other edge, working from the nut to the end. And this looks promising first couple of passes, and these frets are level. All right, and they are all leveled. And I didn't have to take hardly anything off of here because I was checking these frets as I pounded them in with my trusty fret, whatever the heck you call it, doohickey. Make sure they're level, and they are. Nice. And now that they're level, it's just a simple matter of restoring the crown with this beautiful diamond file all the way down, and then I polish it out with up to about maybe 1,000 grit and polish, sandpaper polish. Before I do the final polish, I'm going to razor blade the whole fingerboard to get all that glue off of there. Now I think the time has come to glue this logo back on the headstock. They used a glue. You can see where the glue, they hardly used any. I'm going to use Titebond. I don't know what kind of glue they use, but I'm going to use Titebond. It's pretty non-invasive. I'm just going to glue it on there. I'm just going to leave that to dry overnight. All right. Now it's time to address this disaster called a body. I don't know what I'm going to do, how far I'm going to go with this. Nice puncture wound there. Back looks great. Man, oh man, look at that. Somebody was dragging this along the ground, but that back looks great. And, yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to see what kind of spit polish I can do. This, man, I don't dig that. Well, we'll see. The first thing I'd like to address is this. I don't know if you can see that. Easy fix. Squeeze a lot of glue in there and clamp it. Jed. Before I glue that, I want to remove this and glue that back on the neck. It's part of the dovetail. And it's insinuating with the fittage. So I got to get that off. I'm just going to put a wet rag there and come back in a couple hours. Okay, after an hour or so of patient soaking, I was able to get that piece out on that side, and it goes right there. Fits right in there perfectly. All right, so glue. This one's ready to come off too. Like that. All righty. And here's that puncture wound, freshly squozen. I like to use plexiglass as camping claw. As I was saying, I like to use plexiglass as clamping claws. You can kind of see. So I worked the glue in, worked it up and down, worked some glue in there, and then squeezed it up. It's going to be better than it was. Well, that came out Really nice, much better. At least it's not a gaping hole going into nowhere. Yeah. I could actually touch that up if I wanted to, but I don't want to. Okay, well, after the standard tearing of hair, or tearing of teeth and gnashing of hair, I've got this cocked back some. It was pulled. And the way I did it was I just measured back at an angle like that and took some down and flattened it and fit it and filed it and chiseled it and everything. And I got what I consider a reasonable fit to glue this sucker down. Permanently like. Alrighty. If you're watching this, it means that this was a successful operation throughout. All right, here's my patented neck gluer-oner. In other words, it's my Acme patented L.A. Jones neck installer from our friends at Acme. Primitive but effective. And that neck seems to be glued on there pretty solid on all sides. And hopefully that neck angle is going to be workable. It looks like it is. It is. It's going to be, whether I have to custom make a bridge or hair lip every cow in Texas, whichever comes first. I'm going to make it work. That's right. Clamps removed. Look at that neck angle. This is a 125 pickup, 125 bridge. And I'm gonna probably just make one just like this. I'm not going to, and look at that, I got room for the thumb wheels to go in there. That goes right to the top of that, very nice. This is what I'm gonna copy. Because I can't locate my original one right now. So I'll make something like that, just for gits and shiggles. The joint appears to be like really strong. Who knows until we get some tension on there. I seem to have misplaced the tail piece too, but no worries. I got plenty of tail pieces. Period correct. How about them apples? Yeah, I can't find my original stuff. I don't even remember for sure if I had original parts with this, but here's a nice tailpiece, nickel plated from that era. Screw holes line up for the most part. And yeah, I'm gonna just buff the living bejesus out of this thing now. Okay, I've got the nut and the washer inserted back on this, and got it snugged down pretty tight. So next thing is I'm just going to get a nut blank and put the tailpiece on and see how this reacts with string tension. The start of the bone nut process. Not too bad. I'm going to give StewMac a little plug. I'm going to use their string spacing rule to make this nut. You know, StewMac, their website can be a pain in the ass. I had a one of their Solomon soldering stations went bad, and their website kept sending me around and around with the, "I'm not a robot, send a message." And I finally got sick of it and just sent the thing to them for replacement. It took them a little while to sort it out, but they did sort it out, and they sent me a new Solomon soldering station. So thanks, Stu Mac. So here's a plug. You ought to fix your website so it's got a number you can actually call people on and not get a recording that says, you can get us online. Not everybody wants to be online or is online. Alrighty, rant over. And like magic, there is a nice nut. You can't really see it, the gleam, but you know, I get these suckers to gleam with a buffing wheel after I do it up to 800 grit. Don't take this the wrong way, but my nuts are a work of art. All right, I got the nut properly fit and the strings set to the proper height, and found this in a drawer. Why not? It's a K standard. Anyways, it seems to work really well. One thing about a lot of truss rod covers, they put the screws right under the string. And this one happened to work out just right. And I had a mock-up bridge on it, and it plays great all the way up the neck. Unbelievable what this was and what it is now. I mean, that had like a, that neck probably had, I'm gonna say, an inch or an inch and a half of relief. It was brutal. So anyways, next step, this bridge, I'm not giving this up. This is off of my old 125. I'm just gonna make one out of some Indian rosewood. I'm gonna copy this one. It's a nice design. All right, onward. All right, here's what I need to get the festivities underway. I took a piece of rosewood, drilled 2 holes in it as near the center as I could, and then sliced it in half. And my trusty Stu-Mac adjustable I don't know what you call it. It's for contouring the bridge. So it's a bridge contour or. Alrighty. So yeah, so here I just put the base to be and just make a tracing of the belly. Kind of get a rough contour like that. And then I just grind it roughly like that on a belt sander. And you get the threads started on the posts, kind of screw them in. And then you adjust the back wheel. So this is pretty parallel. And I use a little bit of double stick tape. I'm starting with 80 grit, and you know, you put of course the old pencil marks on the bottom trick, you know, and you just kind of patiently wear it down, kind of like some of my customers. That's definitely good enough for who it's for. Now I'm gonna trim it down on a bandsaw / belt sander. Kind of sort of like that. With a little white grease assist. Nice. Well, all right then. We'll all read then. Progress. That's kind of sweet. Yeah. I love a good polished rosewood. I like polished wood. All right, like that. Now all I have to do is I clip these. I'm going to file those so they're nice and round. And file just a tiny little slot in each, for each string so it doesn't move all over the place like that. And I went with acoustic strings because I'm not putting a pickup on this. I didn't have anything kicking around, so there it is.